Hi everyone. So this is my 36-week update. The last update I made for you guys was 18 weeks, and I'm definitely at a very different stage in my pregnancy and my planning at the moment. So I wanted to sort of share with you guys and just also have this for a memory. Last time I made the video at 18 weeks, I was talking about just sort of some steps and things you guys can do. Now obviously my belly is much bigger, and you guys can see belly. We're getting close to the end, obviously. Hopefully she is coming pretty soon, but yeah, so it is 36 weeks and a lot has changed since that 18-week video. So basically I have I've stayed healthy, knock on wood, but things have been different. So I was at a university hospital, which is where I'd done all my endometriosis treatments and things like that, but I ended up moving to a smaller clinic that a coworker had recommended to me, because the virus had obviously died down a lot here, subsided substantially, and I was like, okay, well, let's go check out another hospital. So the hospital that I'm currently at as of right now, but might change again, is a small women's hospital, and they, it's just like generally a much better experience for me. Like, it's less stressful than like having a giant hospital. There's less people there. Most of them are pregnant women, so they're obviously very careful, so it just feels less stressful. It's also closer to my house and my school in case I go to labor in either of those two places, which is pretty much where I am all the time now at home right now with vacation, and then I have about 2 to 3 weeks of school before I start my maternity leave, depending on when the baby comes. But yeah, so it's much closer to me, about 10 minutes from my school, 15 minutes from my house, so very, very, very quick to get there. So I've liked being at that hospital a lot, and even though the level of English for staff isn't great, my husband speaks Korean well, so I'm not that stressed out about it, and I can understand what's happening always. My knowledge of medical terminology is pretty extensive, and they're speaking English for most of the medical terms, so I understand what's happening. But so what's going on right now at this moment, I have an ultrasound appointment today and a checkup today, and I'm basically deciding if I'm staying there at 36 weeks or if I'm moving to another clinic, because what's been going on, even though the Korean COVID numbers have gone down substantially, under or around 30 a day in the country, which is definitely different than what America looks like right now, there's still this policy which major university hospitals and then some clinics have instituted, where for whatever reason at birth the baby is then separated until you go home 2 days later from the mother, and basically the mother can only really be with the baby during breastfeeding time and bring bottles to the nursery or things like that, and if you have a natural birth, that's 2 days. If you have cesarean, that's 5 days. And this is really something that's upsetting me, and I don't really understand why this practice is happening. I can understand if they are testing mothers when they come in and then making those decisions, but pretty much all logic would say that if you're going to send the mother home with the baby regardless in 2 days, then why are you separating them in those very crucial sort of initial hours and days after birth? So I don't want that. I am really going to talk to my doctors and sort of see what options we have. And my hope is that we won't be separated. And if we would be, then I'll be moving to a different hospital that is considerably more expensive. So my current hospital for average delivery fees is around $1,000 if you have a private room. And then if you have a cesarean, it can go up to $1,500 US, which is still very cheap compared to American standards. If I go to the other clinic, which is more of a sort of Western style, a natural birthing center, it's about $2,500, I think, for natural birth, and maybe I'll do a water birth there, or at least labor in the water. I don't want to deliver in the water, but I would labor in the water if I was there, which isn't really a possibility in the other clinics. So about $2,500 US to up to $3,000, depending if you have to have an emergency C-section, anything like that. So that's what it looks like at the moment. I'm sort of still making this decision. It's possible to still move if I want to. The most important thing for me is just that I don't want to be separated from the baby in those first few days for very long. And even seems like an hour seems like it'd be too long, so I can't imagine being separated the whole time. So yeah, I'm making that decision at the moment. other things that have been going on in my pregnancy. So at 18 weeks, I was less nauseous, but I was still nauseous pretty much until about 24 weeks, when I still felt like primarily nauseous throughout the day, and then sometimes still throwing up consistently. These days, luckily, the nausea has gone and throwing up has gone. I'm more battling the humidity and the heat of Korea in the summer, and swelling. So I've been pretty lucky that my feet haven't swollen so much so far. I've heard that after 37 weeks that can be a bigger issue, and preeclampsia is like a concern that a lot of women have, which is where you basically have swelling and other issues that can happen. It can be like life-threatening, so you really have to be careful in watching that. My biggest issue, my hands get really swollen when I'm outside and it's really hot and humid. I don't know why it's my hands, but they get like super swollen and I just feel like sausages. So that's like been my struggle recently. And she is very active, constantly moving and constantly flipping in circles. So I am, difficult to sleep. Insomnia is definitely a problem recently. In my whole life, I've never had insomnia. Like as soon as I put my head down, I was asleep and would wake up when my alarm went off. I was very lucky. So now I think my body's preparing me for the fact that with a newborn, you won't get to sleep. So about 2 o'clock in the morning to like 4:30, I like am wide awake these days, which is interesting. And so I just wanted to sort of share that with you guys also so I can remember what this experience has been like. I think I've been staying home. We really haven't gone anywhere. We've gone for a few drives. We got a car, mostly because I just knew I would need one in this humidity. And also I think it's just smart to have one with a little one, and still like not wanting to take public transportation very often these days, just because I don't want to risk it. So that's interesting. I've gotten everything pretty much ready for the baby that we need. Our apartment is really, really tiny. I never did an apartment tour for this apartment because it is so small. It's by far the smallest apartment I've ever lived in. And now there's going to be 3 of us in here. But our hope is to be moving out of here in March because that's when our contract ends. I would have liked to move now or sooner, but we couldn't because of the contract. And with everything going with the virus, it's just too stressful with like the offices and all that stuff. And I've been really lucky. My school has been really like supportive and kind, and I haven't had really issues. They've even given me time to like, there's part of this government initiative where pregnant women were allowed to leave earlier from work, and I was able to do that. So I've been very, very lucky to get like as much rest as possible. I will start maternity leave soon. So if you are pregnant and you're curious about that in Korea, very important thing to apply for is employment insurance. And for the most part, unless you're married to a Korean citizen, have an F6 visa, they won't enroll you in that one. They'll enroll you in the other 3 insurances, but not the employment insurance. So definitely advocate for yourself as soon as you find out you're pregnant. My school, they really like delayed it for some reason, even though I asked about it early on. And so if you have employment insurance for at least 6 months, then your 3rd month of maternity leave, which isn't paid on an E2 visa for most English teachers, will be paid up to $2,000 or like 2 million won. But for me, because of when I applied, it looks like I'll have to apply right at the end of the 45-day grace period after maternity leave, and then I can apply for it. So hopefully I'll get it. But other than that, you also have the possibility of parental leave, which is up to a year within the first 6 years of your child's life, to be home. So that's something that I'm definitely looking into for the next couple of years. With my teaching career, I love teaching here and I love my school. So it's something that I'm thinking about, maybe doing a partial one, 3 months or 6 months, staying home. And we're also looking into like daycares and what that's going to look like. So yeah, there's lots of interesting things to be thinking about. My husband is starting his graduate program very soon. So basically we're going to figure out the daycare program. For us as 2 foreigners, it's a little bit different than the subsidies you get for like one Korean citizen or both Korean citizens, obviously. You'll have, it is still very like reasonably priced. I think we'll pay $400 to $600 a month for childcare. So we're looking into that at the moment, which is interesting. And also just applying for like passports and healthcare. So things that you should be thinking about if you're foreign citizens, you need to get passport and the proof of citizenship, born abroad. If you're an American citizen, you also need to get your ARC card and apply for the F3 visa for that child, the dependent visa. And you also need to apply for your health care. So I have all of those sort of things ready in envelopes to go. As soon as the baby's born, we'll be applying within that first month. It should be interesting. Postpartum, having to run to all those places. But again, I'm really happy that we have a car, because like the immigration office is far away and all those places are always far. So yes, very happy about that. Also, we've gotten stuff ready for the baby. We plan to do cloth diapering in Korea, which should be interesting, but it is generally just so much more inexpensive and just a lot less waste. So we're going to be doing that. Also, hopefully I'll be breastfeeding, so I'll take you guys on that journey a little bit with me. And we've gotten all the clothing and, you know, everything we need ready for the baby, but in a reasonable amount. The experience from my friends who've had children recently and my sister, it's like the less is really more. You don't need all the crazy things, because every baby's different. And we've used Dankun, which is like a Korean like Craigslist, but like just tons of families, you know, sending things for very inexpensive, that are very expensive or brand new, for free. So we were very lucky to get pretty much everything we needed on our list from there, and which was great. So yeah, we are just getting ready now. Today's appointment is just a little stressful for me because I have all these questions about the policy at the moment, because I know a lot of policies just keep changing. And I know that, and I want to be flexible because I know with the virus, but really the most important thing for me is that the baby stays with me. And, you know, I'm happy to do all the tests that they want. If they want to do coronavirus tests earlier than the baby's born, as soon as I arrive in the hospital, things like that, I am more than happy to comply with any of those things. I just don't want to be separated from the baby for 2 days or 3 days or 5 days. So I really want to figure that out. I'm happy to pay more if that's not going to be, if it's an experience that like I think would be much better for me and for the baby. So yeah, we're looking into all of that at the moment. 36 weeks, my belly is definitely at a full stage, and she is growing well. Right now she's more than 6 pounds. Well, last time we checked, which was 2 weeks ago, she was at 6 pounds. So she's definitely bigger than that now, and that's great. I'm happy to hear that, because that's one of the things that I've just like always been trying to get to, like the good preterm weights, just in case of an emergency. And we're definitely at a very good stable place for her birth weight at the moment. So she's gonna be a big baby. It's gonna be a little hard, but the doctor said that usually babies that are as big as mine, or are predicted to be, will have a C-section automatically in Korea. But because I'm a foreigner, my body type's a little bit different, that I have the possibility to labor at my current hospital, which I would like, if at all possible, to avoid a C-section. But I know it's possible. My sister had an emergency C-section. So I'm trying to stay reasonable and calm, and cool, which is really the most important thing right now, because it's so humid outside. Just like literally Korea in the summer has always been like this, but I think when you're like 9 months pregnant, it's like, I'd rather not be outside in this humidity. And then the things that I used to do to avoid being outside, like going to express bus terminal or going to movies, aren't really ideal right now, because even though the numbers are really low, I don't want to expose myself just needlessly. So I've been not going to my favorite places, which makes me sad. So hopefully, in the fall we'll be able to do more things again and just get out and just go for walks when the humidity has subsided. I can't wait for that. So yes, my baby bump is here and she is ready. Hopefully we come in the next few weeks, and she's ready to be born. I'm trying to figure out exactly when I want to take my maternity leave, and I think it's just such a tricky thing, because I want to not be stressed out the last few weeks before I go into labor, but also I want to spend as much time at home with her as I can in those 3 months. So it's kind of a mental battle. I've already prepared all the materials for my coworkers for the entire time I'm gone during my maternity leave, so I feel good about that. I have 1 week of camp, which is actually very modified this year because of the virus, where we're doing very small 2 to 3 students in each class, and really just about 80 minutes a day, where we'll do a project and we'll focus on phonics lessons. So it's like a really different year than previous years, and I think in a lot of ways I'm even though the virus is horrific and horrible, it has, because of the way Korea has handled it, it's given me a lot of rest time, and I live so close to my school that it's been very, like, the positive outcome of all of this is that I've just been able to be online teaching, actually, which is easier when you're very heavily pregnant. And we start Zoom classes, but I think I'm probably not going to be doing those classes because I'll only be back for about a week and a half before the maternity leave starts. So we'll see. I'm gonna miss seeing those babies, but it will be nice to get some rest and spend some time with my little one. So I will keep you guys updated. Hopefully in my next video I will have a little one in my arms to show you, and if you have any questions about what I talked about, you know, put it down below. I'm happy to sort of give you guys updates. It's just been a wild ride being pregnant at this time, but I am excited, and this little one, can't wait to see all you guys. Bye everyone.